a very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the startup ecosystem. I'm Priya Sheth, it's 5 pm, and thank you so much for logging in because I have with me a consolidated list of movers and shakers from the startup industry. But first up, let's have a look at the top headlines that we've been tracking this evening. In what could be one of the largest deals in the edtech space, reports suggest that Byju's is all set to acquire Aakash Educational Services for a whopping $1 billion. Do remember that Blackstone-backed Aakash Educational Services runs about 200 brick-and-mortar institutes all over the country and has a student count of about 2.5 lakh. Moving on to the second headline of the day, billionaire Elon Musk-led Tesla has finally set up its India subsidiary in Bengaluru. It's called Tesla India Motors and Energy Private Limited. Do remember that this comes as Tesla prepares to set up its R&D unit and manufacturing facility in India. Do remember that earlier Elon Musk had hinted that they would be entering India in 2021. Well, another reason why Elon Musk is in news is because the Musk Foundation has donated $5 million to non-profit educational platform Khan Academy. Do remember that Khan Academy founder Salman Khan also tweeted about this and said that this donation will help the academy build more engaging content for learners, also accelerate content as well as solutions for students all over the world. Moving on to the fourth headline of the day, IT services major Tech Mahindra is all set to acquire payment technology services for $9 million. This deal is expected to close in March 2021. Now, this deal will give Tech Mahindra access for licenses and IPs for two products, which will help further strengthen its banking and financial services vertical. Well, moving on to the final headline of the day, a group of Indian startups have formed a new body called Atmanirbhar Digital India Foundation. Now, this body is expected to engage with government and other regulatory bodies to protect freedom of choice for domestic internet companies. Do remember that this move comes amid concerns of the digital economy facing risks of monopoly by big tech companies.
Well, moving on to our next segment, we have with us a very special guest, somebody who has been running the company Purple.com. It's an e-commerce player that is, in the space of beauty, cosmetics, as well as personal care. And I have with me Mr. Manish Taneja. Thank you very much for joining us today on Your Story TV. The last couple of months, Mr. Taneja, have been very interesting for the industry. And you at Purple.com have also seen huge amounts of growth coming in. Take us through the numbers, please.
Well, thanks, Priya, for having me over. Look, I think, I think for a lot of people, COVID has been a big pain, and for many industries and also for people from a health point of view. But I think for most of us in the e-commerce business, I think, it's provided us a tailwind to grow faster. So just to give you a perspective, October, November versus pre-COVID numbers, we would have grown by about 85 to 90 odd % in our revenues. We are currently trending at our annual run rate of about 540 odd crores for the year. And, hoping that, we'll be able to grow by another 85 to 100% in 2021 as well. So, yeah, hoping to end the year 2021 by about 1,000 crores of run rate. On a quarterly basis. That's where I would put it as.
Wow, 1,000 crores of run rate seems like a big number. What's really driving this kind of growth?
Look, I think for every company it will be different things. I think for us, it's basically building blocks that we had put into place about over the last 2-3 years. I think our solid focus on technology capability. For us to be able to personalize, what every consumer will want to buy, I think it's something that we place very close to our hearts in terms of what's driving our growth. So our technology can actually predict what product will a consumer buy and therefore can actually place orders accordingly. I think that's one. We call it personalization. We call it our personalization stack. I think the second thing that's been driving sort of revenues for Purple is basically this entire education around beauty and its various categories as a business. So for example, how many people in India know what is the difference between an essence and a serum and a facial oil? I think hardly any. And I think, therefore, companies like us are playing a pivotal role in educating consumers what these products are and why you should be consuming them. And that's so basically, I would say the regime of a woman is expanding, and that's what's been driving our growth rate as well. And last, I would say, given our ability to predict what will sell, our ability to, bring new innovations to the table, both in the form of exclusive supply of third-party brands as well as our own brands, is what I think is driving the growth. So three things, let me put it very simply. One is our technology capability in the form of personalization. I think second, our content capability and education capability for our consumers. And third, our unique supply capability in the form of both third-party brands and private brands, which is driving the growth of business at Purple.
Purple has seen a diversification of business model as well. You've pivoted from being just a platform where you could book beauty services to a platform that literally sells these kind of beauty products. So over the last couple of months, are the categories that you've realized would be your core categories of operations?
I think we started as a beauty marketplace for products. For a year or so in 2015, we dabbled with beauty services bookings online. But I think we shut that business in about 12 to 15 months. So since 2016 Q1, we've only been focused on products as a business. I think in early days of COVID, we saw hygiene as a category starting to take off. Sanitizers, surface sanitizers, and so on and so forth. But I think that's still a very small part of our business. The core part of our business is skincare, which is perhaps about 50% of our revenue. Another 25 to 30% of our revenue comes from makeup. So these two categories continue to drive our business as usual. And I haven't seen much of a change in that yet. Of course, there are changes happening on the product type. So for example, today people are looking for more products to solve for acne, because when you're wearing mask, there is a lot of sweating that happens behind the mask. It's a term called maskne, which is mask acne, and people are looking for solutions for that. Similarly, in makeup, women are looking for more longer stay lipsticks which are not drying on the lips, because once you're wearing a mask, you don't want a lipstick to sort of touch the mask and come off. So I think those are some innovations that people are bringing in. But, more or less from a broad category standpoint, I think it's largely been skincare and hair care that's leading the growth for us.
In terms of geographies, which are the cities or towns where you're seeing maximum amount of traction in terms of orders, and in terms of average order value, have you seen that spike over the last couple of months?
Look, so very good question. And I think there is a reason for this. We are seeing almost 75% of our orders come from outside of metros and tier 1 cities. We were also very surprised when cities like Siliguri, Jalpaiguri, Kamrup started appearing in our top 20 cities. These are small cities in West Bengal. So I'll put it this way, about 30% of our revenue comes from east of India, which is pretty sizable. This is West Bengal and northeastern states put together. A decent part of our revenue comes from north of India, followed by west and then followed by south. As I mentioned to you, there are many small cities that are cropping up on our map as cities where sizable portion of our revenues are there. To cater to this demand, what we've done is as follows. We have now 6 fulfillment centers running pan-India. Our latest fulfillment center is in Guwahati because we wanted to service our northeastern customers within 2 days of placing an order. So that's been the most recent addition to our fulfillment centers. We also have a fulfillment center in Kolkata. We have 2 in south of India, Hyderabad and Bangalore. And then we have 1 in Mumbai and 1 in Gurgaon, which caters to north of India. In terms of average order values, yes, you're right. We've seen a 20 to 25% increase in our average order values over the last few months. This is primarily because of increase in our average selling price per product. It's not like people are buying more number of products in their cart. I think people are gradually graduating to a more premium product from, let's say, a more basic product, perhaps, as they would have been buying over the years. So we've seen an increase in average order value primarily due to an increase in ASP.
Take us to what your plans for profitability are. I know every business has been chasing profitability and getting better margins. I understand private labels are about 40 odd % of your overall revenue. So give us some sense on how far are we from profitability, and in terms of margins, what are you doing in terms of improving margins overall?
So look, I think we've been EBITDA break even for like 2-3 years now. So perhaps a less relevant question for us. To give you a perspective, we raised 250 crores in January last year from Whirl Invest and Goldman Sachs. 250 crores of primary capital. Our burn for last year was 13 crores. So we are not a heavily burn company. I think our burn the year before was, I think we were EBITDA positive a year before that. So broadly, profitability is not a concern for us at all. Even this year, we won't burn much. I mean, it'll be less than $2 million. So I think for us, the question is, how do we grow here? We have an exceptionally good unit economics machine running here. As you mentioned, about 40% of our revenue comes from our own brands. Perhaps the proportion of own brands will continue to stay at 40% or may increase to 45 or so. As I mentioned to you, we are trying to reduce our direct cost by opening 4 more fulfillment centers pan-India. So our logistics cost comes down, which is a big cost in our business. And, I would say the focus this year will be on growth. We have been profitable in the past at EBITDA level, so it's not an alien philosophy to us. We've like decent amount of cash sitting in the bank, so not something that we want to sort of truly fuss about this year. I think we generally operate at a EBITDA break even, most years.
You mentioned that you raised 250 crore rupees in January last year.
Yeah.
Is there any plan to raise more money towards the middle of this year or anytime soon, considering that you are looking at a significant expansion, and also you've been expanding in terms of the fulfillment centers, etc. So for investment related purposes, do you think you'd need another round of funding soon?
Priya, we raised 250 crores. We've only used 50 crores out of that. So we have 200 crores lying in our bank. I don't think we need to raise capital this year. There is no need for a dilution this year. I also wanted to just, let you know a couple of more points about, our cap table. If you see, we have 2 of the most deep-pocketed investors on our cap table, be it Goldman Sachs or Whirl Invest. So if we need some capital, in the interim, we can always get it from our existing investors. But as of now, there is no, there is no fundraise on the cards this year for sure. I think we have to hunker down and execute on our plans and perhaps look at raising some capital next year.
So we'll wait and watch as to how much capital you raise next year and the kind of strategies that you put in place to clock that kind of 100% growth that you have been eyeing. On that note, many thanks for joining us, Mr. Taneja. It was really a pleasure speaking to you as always. Thank you for being on Your Story TV.
With that, it's a wrap on this very special show of Daily Dispatch. Do not forget to log in at 5 p.m. tomorrow and do not forget to hit the subscribe button below. We want to see you here every single day. Goodbye and see you tomorrow.